Welcome to the course on data communication and networking, week 9, session 1. In this session, students will learn media access control. There are three media access controls: random access protocols, control access protocols, channelization protocol. Now, all these three media access control methods are not applicable to all the type of topology. Let's say this is computer A and this is computer B, and they are connected via a dedicated line, or this is computer C and this is computer D. They are having a wireless antenna, and none another device are part of this network. So this topology is known as point-to-point topology, P2P topology. So in both the cases, we don't need to worry about media access control, because only two parties, they are sending and receiving data. And in case of full duplex communication, they are having a separate channels, so they will not collide, signals will not collide with each other. So there is no need of media access control in this case in point-to-point protocol, whether it is wireline or fiber optic or it's a wireless communication. So this media access control is applicable to what kind of topology? That is a point to multipoint, P to multipoint, where there is one line and there are multiple stations are sending and receiving data. So there are 4 machines over here, A, B, C, D. They are accessing the same channel, and if more than 2 stations transmit simultaneously, they result in collision. So if there is a chance of collision, that's we need to think about media access control. Out of these 4 machines, who can send next, who can send right now? So that is the thing, but the strategy or algorithm, it is known as media access control. This is same in wireless communication. If there are 4 stations are there and there is one access point, air acts as a medium, and all the computers are having antenna to send and receive, to transmit and receive. So this is the same case of point to multipoint topology. And keep in mind, in wireless communication, in this case, all the station A, B, C and D, they are using the same channel. Same channel means same frequency F. They are operated over same frequency. Over here, they are connected to single wires. So that's nothing but channel. Wire is a practical terminology. Channel is a theoretical terminology. Same way, the channel is a theoretical terminology. Frequency is a practical terminology. So this A, B, C, D, they are operated over the same frequency. If more than one station wants to transmit over the same frequency, the signals which are carried by the same frequency will collide with each other. It results in collision. But if they are operated over different frequency, then there will not be a collision. So keep in your mind that if the same frequency or same channel is used, then and then there is a chance of collision. Then and then we need to use media access control. So example of this is Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi uses same channel to send and receive, to transmit and receive data using this one access point. But the example which uses different frequency, that's our GSM technology or cellular telephony, where there is a central antenna, central tower, south tower is having antenna, and there are mobile phones, and each and every mobile phones, they are having a different frequency, F1 and F2, so there can be simultaneous communication. So this is the example where we don't need to think about multiple access control. And this is Wi-Fi, we need to think about media access control, where multiple stations wants to access the same frequency. So there are 3 methods. The first method is random access, second is control access, third method is channelization protocol. Channelization protocol is nothing but this example that the GSM they use. Random access, no one will have a control over the channel, Anybody can access the channel. That's the meaning of random access. Control access, there will be one monitor out of this topology. There will be one monitor, that's A acts as a monitor, and monitor will be responsible to inform rest others who can access channel next. That's a control access. So what I exactly mean by MAC? When nodes or stations or computers are connected and use a common link called multipoint or broadcast link, that is also known as broadcast link, we need a multiple access protocol to coordinate access to the link. There are three types of multiple access protocols: random access, control access, channelization. Example of random access protocols are Aloha, CSMA, CSMA-CD, and CSMA-CA. Control access examples: reservation, polling, and token passing. And channelization protocol: FDMA, frequency division multiple access, time division multiple access, and code division multiple access. These are the two examples. This is hub, and there are three machines, and there are two computers and one access point. So why this is also known as, although there are two computers, why this is known as point to multipoint? Because a third device is a Wi-Fi access point. So over here, so this is act as a station. This is act as a station. This acts as a station. So more than two devices are there. So there are three devices, and this access point wants to transmit, and this tablet 1 and 3 wants to transmit. So it results in collision in case of simultaneous transmission. The property of the random access is no station is superior to another station. So there is no control. None is assigned control over another. So there is no centralized access. So everyone can think themselves, and they can send and transmit data simultaneously. So over here, the matter of sending only. For receiving, everyone can receive. So whatever we are discussing, that is with respect to only sending of data. And this random access method is known as condenser method. Why the condenser method? Because condenser means it's collision. So when the collision happens, it resolves this collision by applying some algorithm. There is no schedule time, so it's no pre-schedule. Transmission is random among the stations. No rules to specify which stations will send next. So there is no control over the medium. All the stations compete with each other to access the medium. Compete in the sense, if the collision happens, then what they will do? They will, what kind of procedure they will follow to compete for media access. Because if more than two stations want to transmit data or signals, they will originally collision. But after resolution of who will send next, so there will be winning situation. That is one of them will win. That's why these methods are called condenser methods. If more than one station tries to send, there is an access complete, there is a collision. So collision is nothing but if the two electrical signals collide with each other, it results in high spike. That's a collision. High spike is not too much high, but the cables can tolerate those high spike, so there will not be the burning of cables. To avoid access conflict or to resolve it when it happens, each station follows a procedure that's known as algorithm. And that procedure depends on the answer of these questions. When can station access the medium? When can the station do if the medium is busy? How can the station determine the success or failure of the transmission? Means whether the collision happens or not. What can the station do if there is an access conflict? So let's look at the first method, that is Aloha. Aloha, it was the first random access method developed by University of Hawaii in 1970. It was designed for wireless LAN. Later on, the variants of Aloha was developed, and it was available to wireline multiple point to multiple topology as well. And keep in mind, it is used for side medium. That's a point to multipoint. So side medium is will be always of point to multipoint. The original Aloha protocol is called Pure Aloha, and this is a diagram of Pure Aloha. So this is sided area, that's this much area, that is known as collision duration, and this is time. And there are the four sessions 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this is a time. This is a diagram with respect to time. T equal to, let's say it's a 10 second. So at t equal to 10 second, at this point of time, nobody wants to transmit. But before that, only station 3 has succeeded. Then this was the collision duration. Then there is no transmission. These four stations collide with each other, and there is successful transmission of station 1. So let's see in form of animation. This is station 1, 2, 3, and 4. So during this time, from here to here, station 3 wants to transmit, and station 3 gets succeed. So the frame of station 3 was transmitted successfully. Now, at this point of time, when the station 4 has already started, and at this time, after this much time, station 2 has already they also started. So then, from here point of it, from this point onwards, these two signals of station 2 and station 4 collide with each other. So that results in collision. Then this time period, station 4 and station 1, but station 1 has started before and station 4 started then after. Then after station 2 has started, station 3 has started, it results in collision. So conclusion of this discussion is a pure Aloha, any station can send data at any point of time. It is if transport layer gives data to network layer, then data link layer, then physical layer immediately transmits. So this is a scenario that at this point of time, station 3 wanted to transmit and it succeeded. Nobody other was sending the data. So over here, relativity terms comes over here. If more than two station wants to transmit, then it results in collision. If only single station wants to transmit, there will not be a collision. So pure Aloha also relies on the acknowledgement from the receiver to confirm whether the MySign has received by receiver successfully or not. So this is laptop 1, this is laptop 2, this is wireless access point. It sends out a frame. The frame travels on medium, means in case of Wi-Fi, it's air as a medium, and is received by access point. And this access point will send over, and or it radiates on other directions, but laptop 2 will receive that same frame. Upon receiving frame, it creates a small packet. It is known as ACK, acknowledgement, and acknowledgement will be sent back to in all the directions. So that will be received by this wireless access point, and this wireless access point will radiate out the same acknowledgement on both the directions, and then it is received by this laptop 1. So in this case, what we have discussed, while this laptop 1 is sending, laptop 2 is only the receiving, and while the laptop 2 is giving reply in terms of acknowledgement, laptop 1 is listening mode. It is not sending any frame. So over here, the pure Aloha protocol relies on the acknowledgements from the receiver to guarantee that my packet is delivered successfully. When the station sends a frame, it expects the receiver to send acknowledgement. If the acknowledgement does not arrive after a timeout period, the station assumes that frame has destroyed, or it has corrupted, so it will resend this frame. So it is also known as retransmission. Pure Aloha has a second method to prevent congesting channel with retransmitted frames. After maximum number of retransmission attempts, Kmax, a station must give up and try later. Let's look at some practical aspects and then we'll look at the algorithm. This is central access point. Let's look at, do not go with this, appears as a tower, but let's look at the central access point. Central access point has a data to send, and these two laptops are located over same distance. So this frame, because do not consider this is two frames, it is a single frame, but those single frames, they are radiated out using this Wi-Fi access point, and it sends out on all the directions. So this is same frame, it is not a two frame, it's the same frame, same signals. So because these two laptops are located at the same distance, the frame will receive at the same time. But if there is a difference, there is a one laptop located over here, the second laptop located over here, the distance between these two are different, and this access point shines out a frame. So this takes much more time than this frame to receive by this laptop too. So that's over here the propagation time comes into picture. Propagation time, because distance is larger, in this case higher than this one, then propagation time matters a lot over here. So frame will be received at later time than this laptop one. So collision and this propagation time will mix. We need to think together and then we need to derive our solution. This is procedure for pure Aloha protocol. K means the number of attempts. Number of attempts means if station A wants to send the data, it results in collision, so K equal to 1. That's the first attempt. Then again the K, if station A wants to transmit a frame, it results in collision, then K equal to 2. So at every attempt, every collisions, the K will incremented by 1. TP, it's a maximum propagation time that depends on the distance. TFR, average transmission time, that's the transmission time of packets from NIC cards on wireless line, wireless frequency. TB, it's a backoff time. So this backoff time is normally R into TP. So TP is nothing but maximum propagation time, and R is random number. The random number lies between 0 to 2 raised to K minus 1. So if K equal to 1, so there will be 0 to 2 raised to 1. So 2 minus 1, it's a 1. So 0 to 1 for K equal to 1. For K equal to 2, so 2 raised to 2, 4 minus 1, then 0, 1, 2, and 3. So there will be range from 0 to 3, and there will be range of, if they are separated by one unit, so there will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers, 4 numerical values. So this contains set. This is set 0, 1, 2, 3. If K equal to 3, the set will contain 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So let's say what is use of this set. At time t equal to 0, station has a frame to send. That is K equal to 0. Sends a frame. It does not do anything. It does not think any more. It will send out frame. After sending a frame, it waits for T into TP. Why it waits for T into TP? TP, that we know very well, maximum propagation time. So maximum propagation time means the machine which is farthest from central access point. So that's a TP. 2 into TP, because the packet is received by this farthest point and it gives acknowledgement. So this is TP plus TP. So it is equal to 2 into TP. So this frame will wait at least 2 into TP, that is also known as round trip time. And then if the acknowledgement is received during 2 into TP, then it succeeds. Otherwise, K gets incremented by 1. If K has reached to maximum attempts, it is 16. If it is 16th attempt, then it aborts. The host cannot be reachable. Otherwise, choose R and wait for TB. So how to choose R? The choose R is between k equal to, right now it's a 1, so it will pick up 0 to 1 only, either 0 or 1. But if it is k equal to 2 or second attempt, so the R will be selected from 0, 1, 2 and 3. So R will have a 4 possibilities, 0, 1, 2 and 3 in the case of second attempt. In case of third attempt, R will have a 8 possibilities, 0 to 7. Then it waits for TB amount of time, R into random number into TP. That's a maximum propagation time from one station to other station. Then it goes to sign up frame, wait for 2 TP. If the acknowledgement is received during 2 into TP, then it succeeds. So this is procedure followed by pure Aloha protocol. One example, the stations on wireless Aloha network are maximum of 600 km apart. So this is longer distance. It's a theoretical distance only. It is, do not consider this is example of Wi-Fi. It's a more than Wi-Fi or more than WiMAX even. If we assume that the signal propagates at 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second, that's a normal propagation rate for any signal. So to find TP, what is TP? TP is a maximum propagation time. So to find out the TP, we require distance. Distance is given over here, and the propagation rate is also given over here. So TP would be 2 milliseconds for that 600 kilometer, and the propagation rate at 3 into 10 raised to 8. So if we divide, then we will get propagation time, maximum propagation time. And for k equal to 2, the range is 0, 1, 2 and 3. This means TB can be either 0, 2, 4 or 6 because it multiplies by 2. 2 into 0, 2 into 1, 2 into 2, 2 into 3. So these are various 4 values which will be picked up for the next iteration. It will wait for that much amount of time. So over here this is waiting zone. It will wait for TB duration of time. So that is nothing but 0, 2, 4 and 6. So this 0, 1, 2 and 3, they are multiplied by with this 2 millisecond. Let's find out what is vulnerable time. But let's look at what is vulnerable time first. Vulnerable time, the length of the time or duration of the time in which there is a possibility of collision. Possibility of the collision in the sense, chances of collision where these two signals collide with each other. For example, this is station A, B, C. They are connected by a common line. And these three stations, the scenario is like that. C started a frame. Already C has started a frame. And when it is up about 70% of its frame, B machine, station B, wants to also transmit a data. So as per the algorithm that we have seen, if a station has a frame to send, it will not do any other, it will just immediately start send the frame. So once the 70% of time has elapsed after transmission of C, B has data to send, so it will immediately send transmission. So this results in collision. And then this is look at these sides. B duration of B is a TFR. That's nothing but the propagation time, maximum transmission time. This is TFR, transmission time. And when the B has already started 80% of its frame, A has a data to send, so A also sends out its frame, so it results in collision. So if results in collision, so this is B wants to send a time, so definitely nobody should send this data during this TFR time. It results in collision. So what is ideal time? That also right side or left side of this TFR, this station B, there is ideal time that if nobody is sending data, only the machine B or whomsoever wants to transmit, if they will succeed into 2 into TFR, there will not be chance of collision. So that is known as vulnerable time. Or in the sense, this would be the time duration. There is a 100% chance that collision will occur, but this is with respect to only machine A or B or C. So for this machine A, if it wants to transmit the data at time t equal to 0, it 2 into TFR, this is 2 into TFR, that's a vulnerable time. If during vulnerable time, if its frame is transmitted successfully or received by receiver successfully, then there will not be a problem. Let's look at an example to figure it out, vulnerable time as well. The average frame transmission is TFR is 200 bits and the speed is 200k kilobits per second. So we will get the transmission time equal to 1 millisecond. The frame size is given 200 bits. So frame size, nothing but the signal length. This is maybe 200 bits and this is 400 bits. So this defines the frame length and this defines 200 kilobits per second as a transmission rate. So frame length upon transmission rate, we will get transmission time. To send this frame length of 200 bits, it will take 1 milliseconds. The vulnerable time will be 2 into 1, that's twice into its transmission rate, so 2 milliseconds. This means no station should send after that 1 millisecond before this station starts transmission, and no station should start sending during the period that this station is sending. So in this diagram, actually this is the time before 1 seconds and during 1 station. So this exactly is 2 milliseconds. So do not get confused with this one. Actually this is this one. Throughput S is equal to G into e raised to minus 2G. Let's accept it. We are not going to derive this equation. What is G? G is average number of frames generated by the system during 1 frame transmission time. So it is asked average number of frames. So average number of frames means if station sends 1000 frames per unit time or per seconds, and then we divide by average. So because station may send at any point of time, so we have to divide by duration, then we will get the average number of frames generated by the system. Why we need to calculate average? But because we don't know when station can send data or signals, that's why we will depend on the average number of frames. The throughput for the Pierola is as equal to G to e raised to minus 2G. The maximum throughput we will get where we will have a G equal to 1 by 2 half. Otherwise, it will go in positive or negative direction. So throughput we will get maximum. This is throughput we will get maximum where equal to G equal to 1 by 2. Let's look at example. A pure Aloha network transmits 200 bits frames on side channel of 200 kbps. What is the throughput? And station sends 1000 frames per second. There are other, we can take other values, 500 to 250 frames per second. The answer, the frame transmission time is 1 millisecond if the system creates 1000 frames per second or 1 frame per millisecond, then G equal to 1. In this case, G equal to 1, so that's S becomes, throughput becomes 0.135, that's 13%. This means that throughput is 1000 into 0.135, so 135 frames. It means only 135 frames out of 1000 will probably survive, or that will be sent and received successfully. Problems with the Pure Aloha. the pure Aloha has a vulnerable time 2 into TFR. It's too much big. It's larger than other methods. This is so because there is no rule that defines when the station can send. Why there is no rule? If any station has any data wants to send data, it immediately sends out data. There is no rule. A station may send soon after another station has started or just before another session has finished. So that this is a problem with pure Aloha. Any station can start without worrying or without looking at other stations' situation. Or we may say that you are crossing a boundary or crossing a highway, express highway, without looking at left and right. So it results in collision definitely. So the answer of the problems of this pure Aloha is solved by somewhat slotted Aloha. In slotted Aloha, we divide the time slots into slots of TFR seconds and force the system to send only at the beginning of each time slot. So these slots are divided. This is slot, first slot, second slot. I'm looking at from the right to bottom, right to left. So that's why I'm denoting it slot 1 to slot 6, but over here in textbooks, that slot 1 to slot 6. So any station, if any station wants to send a data, they can send its specific start of slot. Means all the station has to be synchronized with time. The time or clock has to be synchronized in even the microsecond duration of time. Then should not be skew. Skew is not permitted over here. Our assumption is that all the stations are timely synchronized. So if you follow these methods, if station 3 wants to send the data, they will wait